Rodney, you are up next, and just a reminder, Rodney going to talk about this 1.8 billion or there, there around dollars for
Mhm.
reparations for the insurrectionists. Rodney, take it away, brother.
Thank you, my brother. Well, I apologize. I have a little chest cold.
Yeah, I got some stuff going on in
I'm
my
trying
throat
to
too, so yeah.
trying to keep it from interfering. So I am so proud of this administration. They have opened up a window for reparations.
Yes, sir.
Let's see who qualifies and who deserves. It's a $1.776 billion anti-weaponization fund. I wonder why it's 1.776. We'll let the historians play with that one. Well, I want to go right to the source, man. Vice President Vance said at the press conference after this was announced, quote, a lot of people that are going to apply and they have been mistreated by their government, we think it is responsible to give just compensation. Let me repeat that. A lot of people that are going to apply and have been mistreated by their government, we think it is responsible to give just compensation. Well, let me think of some people that we may know of recently. James Comey, Attorney General Tish James in New York, DA Fannie Willis here in Georgia, Fulton County, and the comedian Colbert. Would they not qualify? They've been mistreated by their government. Well, descendants of chattel slavery can justify being mistreated by their government. Sorry about that. Number one, I got 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, 1.6 million acres of land given by the Homestead Act exempted descendants of chattel slavery. The value of the loss is $326 billion. This is 1.776, man. It ain't gonna come close. But we'll take a down payment. 2, the Social Security Act excluded agriculture and domestic workers, of which descendants of chattel slavery represented 60% of that workforce. That equates to $150 billion. Getting up there, bros.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one that you're going to really be pissed off about. The GI Bill. After 1.2 million veterans from WW2, descendants of chattel slavery returned and were refused an average of $170,000 per veteran loans for homes. The net worth value that they lost as a result of that, the descendants, equates to $33 billion. That's generational wealth, my brother.
Mm-hmm. Keep it coming.
Okay, number 4, the Federal Housing Administration, normally referred to as FHA, their mortgage insurance program redlined communities of descendants of chattel slavery, which equaled a loss in value of buying homes in their community of $150 billion. What I don't understand is that's cutting your nose off to spite your face. Those people would have been paying property tax, which would have gone to the schools, the local government. The whole community would have been thriving in terms of value, not just the red line area, but the adjoining neighborhoods. They just cut their nose. Oh, I forgot. It's supremacy. Forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, from 1981 to 1998, denied loans to descendants of chattel slavery farm owners, which equaled a drop in ownership prior to this of 14% of all farms to 1% of farms owned. That equaled a loss of $2.3 billion agricultural land. Number 6, HBCU land grants did not have matching funds for development on the campuses that the land was given to. That equals a loss of $13 billion for HBCUs in the country. That's where our kids go. 7, PP loans. During the COVID, they had the PPP loans and grants. They gave away $525 billion. Only approved 29% of that went to descendants of chattel slaves applicants. 29% of applications from our community were approved. Only 29%. Applicants from the non-melanin community were approved at 60% of their application rate. 60% twice, 2 times. Those were business owners, We lost jobs because of that. We lost wealth because of that. It was our money. The only other thing that I would add to this part here, because I'm going to get into two articles, one from Politico and one from the New Republic. One deals with the overview of how this came about, and the other one deals with the memo that was dropped in the middle of the night, internal memo, which explained what really was going on. And that is, as you know, the Pope in Vatican City announced this week that reparations is due to descendants of chattel slavery across the world. We also know that the United Nations declared that it was the greatest crime against humanity, this transatlantic slave trade. The greatest, gentlemen, at the UN was introduced. 3 countries voted against it. The United States was one of them. So I think the precedent set that is old. And from the economists I've seen, brothers, the dollar number comes to $14 trillion. And I've verified it from more than one source. 14 trillion. Okay. If that don't shake you up.
A lot of zeros, brother. That's
yeah,
a
bro,
lot
a lot of zeros, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than, okay, that's the harm. There's got to be reconciliation, which is what the Pope is doing and what the United Nations is doing. They're acknowledging it and that there needs to be repair. This country needs to acknowledge it first.
Truth and reconciliation.
That's correct.
First.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
The truth, reconciliation, and then repair. And we're being told a lie now. Like, it was great for us. We got a trade out of it. Anyway, you get me off. I get emotional about this subject, man.
Oh, I get it.
You deal with it. You deal with it right here in Fulton County.
Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir. Political article, Department of Justice rolls out nearly $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund as part of Trump's IRS settlement. This article is in Politico. It was written by Josh Gerstein and Danny Guyen. It was revised May 18th, 2026. You can check it out yourself. I'm not going to go through the whole article. I just got a couple of points I want to raise. This move comes after Trump, his sons, and family businesses sued the IRS for $10 billion for failing to properly oversee a contractor who leaked the tax returns of the president. There's a 2-year period in which you can bring that claim. And it's for anybody that this has happened to, okay? Under the settlement, Trump also agreed to drop damage claims he filed against the federal government over investigations into his 2016 presidential campaign ties to Russia and the court-approved FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago in 2022 as part of a probe into handling of classified documents. Mishandling, a DOJ statement said. You know what administration this was happening in, obviously. It wasn't his. And there was more than probable cause. They found the documents. So how was that harming you? Trump and his family members will receive a formal apology, but no monetary payment or damages of any kind, the statement said. In accordance with the settlement, Trump's attorney filed a notice Monday with the federal court dismissing the lawsuit he filed in January. So, this development Monday came after Williams, who was overseeing the case, raised doubts about whether the litigation could proceed since Trump was effectively both the plaintiff and the defendant. A lot of people have asked me that. How is it possible that you sue the government that you're running? That's like suing your own company for, quote, incredible, man. Anyway, this is a new era, gentlemen. This is a new era in politics, bro. So that's just an excerpt from it. That's not the whole article. If you want to check it out, go look for it. Okay, the last part of my dissertation. The IRS memo proves how blatant Trump's slush fund theft really is. The New Republic by Malcolm Ferguson, May 19th, 2026. Again, I'm going to read just some excerpts, not the whole thing. The Internal Revenue Service's own lawyers wanted to convince the Justice Department to dismiss Trump's $10 billion case against him, outlining several massive issues with the lawsuit that could have served as defense against the suit, according to the New York Times. Okay? So, we all knew it was bogus. Finally came to the attention of the people who were trying to manage this. Oh, yeah, it's bogus, so we need to withdraw. We'll withdraw, but we got to settle on this. Okay? So what's the settlement? The DOJ instead chose to settle with the president in awarding him nearly $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, a slush fund for his supporters and friends. The 25-page IRS memorandum was given to a top Treasury official last month, but it's unclear if ever it made to the DOJ. Interesting, isn't it? Same government, but you know. The memo stated that Trump's lawsuit was filed 2 years too late. Federal statute requires that people suing the IRS for unfairly releasing tax information must do so within 2 years of the infraction. All right? So it was late. Bogus. Trump did not file a complaint until January 2026 over. Okay, so here's the kicker, gentlemen. Here's the kicker. The update to Donald Trump's settlement. The DOJ bans IRS from ever investigating him again. This shields him, his family, and their various businesses. As part of a settlement between the president and the IRS, the DOJ, quote, forever barred and precluded, end quote, the IRS from pursuing Trump, his family members, and his companies over any unpaid tax. Bro, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Critics have already labeled the fund as one of the most blatantly fraudulent creations of Trump's second term. Now, Trump and his allies appear to have swindled the federal government for yet more financial and legal gain. That was dropped after the press conference very quietly in the middle of the night. 25-page memorandum. Reparations? I don't think we are excluded from this fund. The only problem is the fund is too small. That's the problem. I can't believe it, man. I'm in total shock. I'm amazed at the brazenness that this is a piggy bank. This is a personal piggy bank, and my personal attorney is handling this so that any decision that's made clearly against any protocol of the separation of powers in the executive branch and legislative branch. They can appropriate funds. They can decide where the money's supposed to go. You in the executive branch, you manage what Congress tells you to do with the money.
That's right.
How much and where it's supposed to be spent. You don't get to rewrite it. You don't get to create stuff that hasn't been legislated. Oh, there's lawsuits out there, I'm sure. I think Fanone, who's running for Congress, one of the Capitol troop officers,
Cops,
that
yeah.
was
One of the cops.
Yep. As a Capitol police officer, was beaten up. He's running for Congress. And I believe he took a suit against it, and he's got standing for sure. But he should be able to be eligible for this fund.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's a victim.
Exactly. So when you say weaponization, and you're supposed to apply for funds for acts that your government harmed you, bro, the amount is just too small for us. What do you think?
Rodney, Bobby, I want you to go, but Rodney, I'm a little bit. In other words, I'm not so surprised by this, or I'm not. I can believe the brazen in which they are doing it with, and I'm gonna just refer back to two things that I say on this platform a lot, and that is that the history, because it's not repeating but it's rhyming.
Yes, sir. I like that.
It is
Yeah.
absolutely time for
Yes.
it to rhyme. This is not
Yes.
the first time this has happened. And also,
Right.
I'll just say the second thing is that I say on this platform, which I just said not too long ago, which is that fascism is a prelude to dictatorship. So
Sir.
they are behaving like fascists because maybe we're about to go to the D word, and I'm not talking
Yes,
about
sir.
Democrats. Bobby, I want to hear what Bobby got to say before I see anything else, because
Sure.
I'm gonna stick my foot in my mouth in a minute.
No, I mean, what Rodney just read off, it goes back to why I pointed out, what are we celebrating for Memorial Day? To think that you're going to first pardon those rioters on January 6th and then create a slush fund to pay them is so, man. I just, when I saw this, I mean, first of all, to be the negotiator
Mm-hmm.
to the U.S. Treasury on how much you're going to receive in quote unquote damages, and then to negotiate where the rest of you, where yourself nor your family can ever be investigated again. It's so absolutely absurd. But also to think that, if you were a writer on J6 to profit from this. I understand Michael
Right.
Fanone being pissed. I mean,
Yes.
it's got to be infuriating to him as a Capitol police officer. But to see all of this and to see someone set up a fund, so wait a minute, these people defecated in the Capitol. They defecated and urinated on the walls in the Capitol. And you're going to reward them not only with their freedom, which several have been rearrested again
Yes.
for several different infractions.
Yes.
Several of them.
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
and to pay them is just, it's absolutely disgusting. And so, Rodney, I'm glad to hear you give some totals
Yes,
to
sir.
that because, and by the way, that total still isn't a real number. It's still nowhere close.
Immeasurable.
It's immeasurable. But at
Yes.
least you got something to work with
Yes.
based on what you said.
Yes.
But to see all of that happen and for people to, you know, for one thing, for Congress not to be outraged about it the way they should.
Right.
Especially those on the Republican side of things, you know.
Fiscal
So it's like,
conservatives?
no,
Yeah.
they don't care about that. You know, I've said that numerous times, and I know you're being facetious when you say that.
Exactly.
They don't care about that. It's all a cloak. It's all a
Okay.
cloak. So yeah, all this talk about, you know, fiscal conservatism and policy and yada 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 yada. They don't believe in none of it, and that's the
Right.
only reason I'm bringing up their name is because they're the ones that's always talking this stuff. By the way, reminder once again, we are an insolvent nation. We owe $38 trillion. The deficit keeps climbing under this clown the same way it did the last time.
Correct.
So we're not seeing anything to reduce the deficit. Hey, by the way, some of these people are waiting on that check from tariffs. You know, you waiting on that tariff check. All that, we brought in all this money. Not a dime of it has gone towards the deficit. And you don't hear enough people saying anything about it.
That's right.
So I don't want to hog up my response over Rodney. So Rodney, I'm gonna stop right there, man.
Like I said, I wanted you to go first because I have to calm down a little bit sometimes. But so yeah, man, because it's ridiculous. These are straight grifters, man.
Yes.
These people are playing in our faces. But Rodney, I'm so glad, man, that you brought up to just how the world is, you know, all but those 3 countries voted against this. And it just so happened that I believe all 3 of those countries had quite a bit to benefit from chattel slavery, you know, so that says a lot right there. But the one thing that I'll say, because there's nothing else for me to say, otherwise I'll just be trying to talk. And you and Bobby have said what you guys have said enough. But what I will say is this, and that is when we're talking about reparations and when we're seeing that the Trump administration is basically, again, laughing in the regime. You're right.
The regime.
Laughing. Okay, exactly. The regime is laughing in our faces. When I say our, I'm talking about
all of us.
Descendants of chattel slavery in this country.
Yes, sir.
And I don't care what your ethnic group is and maybe even what your original nationality was, because I'm sure when they dig, a whole bunch of stuff going to come out that it wasn't just the overwhelming majority is going to be those enslaved Africans, but there are other people involved in this as well. But I don't care. At the end of the day is that if your family suffered from chattel slavery, and these families today, these non-melanated families are still benefiting from chattel slavery.
Yes, sir.
On this 250-year anniversary that's coming up, you're going to benefit from chattel slavery as long as there is an America. You're going to benefit from chattel slavery until, like you said, Rodney, until there is truth and reconciliation and repair. Until those 3 things happen, you're going to benefit from it, and people of African descent are going to continue to suffer from it. But here's what I'll add. The only thing I'll add to it, Rodney, is this, is that the moment that we get a majority Democratic Congress, okay, and there's a possibility that we could get a majority, that the Democrats could win the Senate, especially if that son of a Klansman keep on doing what he's doing and just even making white people mad.
Right.
As long as they keep doing that, okay, keep teeing off everybody, then there's a possibility that we take the Senate. However, but especially in 2028, if the Democrats get back in that White House, whether it's in the White House or whether it's in this November, if
Yes,
the
sir.
Democrats do not come in and immediately start
Yes.
talking about reparations, we don't need to hear no more panels. We don't need to hear any of that. If they don't immediately come and start putting out raw numbers, okay, and talking about what the world has already said is that Black people deserve reparations, then guess what? I'll be the first to say, Democrats, you're playing in Black people's faces as well.
Absolutely.
I don't want to hear it. The same way with the Supreme Court, all of this stuff,
Yes,
Rodney,
sir.
adding numbers to the Supreme Court. We
Yes, sir.
know what the Republicans did. It's the Supreme Court that is the reason I bring up the Supreme Court. I know you didn't talk about it in your piece,
Go ahead,
but
bro. Go
they
ahead.
are the ones who will they either allow or deny and say this is unconstitutional about
That's right.
reparations. So
That's right.
if Democrats are not coming on board saying, look, let us increase the Supreme Court by 6 folks, whatever it takes, okay? If you're not doing that, then you're laughing in Black people's faces also. And at the end of the day, and I will say it, I've said it on this platform before, Democrats, you have been given an opportunity to codify all of these things that Black folks have died for, have bled for. You've had a chance to codify those things. Our voting rights, our civil rights, even Roe versus Wade, which your people tend to benefit from more than anybody.
Right.
When I say your people, I'm talking about white Democrats.
Yes.
But you
Yes, sir.
refuse to do it because maybe you need a reason to keep getting elected. I don't know. But at the end of the day, maybe you need for us to stay in a certain place. But I'm going to tell you, Democrats, this platform and others going to be ready to call you out because at the end of the day, the world has said Black people deserve, the Pope has said, okay? He's starting with the truth, okay?
Right.
He's ready to reconcile.
Exactly.
And so a lot of
Exactly.
Americans are Catholic in this country.
Yes, sir.
And now let's see if you line yourself up with the Pope on this issue, because
Yes,
we are
sir.
watching, and there are
Yes,
those
sir.
of us. This platform, one of them,
Yes, sir.
is ready to call out the Democrats or whoever get in our way for what we truly deserve, according to our brother James Brown. But anyway, that's what I'm gonna say about that.
In closing, bottom line is that we, as a country, can start the repair process. One, by voting against folks who support what this administration is doing by messing with the reapportionment around the country. Repair. They can do that right now. They can reverse this anti-diversity policy as it relates to descendants of chattel slavery. I don't care about anybody else. Reverse that. We should not be on the table for that. Forget about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's talk about descendants of chattel slavery being treated fairly, and that the government repairs whatever needs to be done because they've been weaponizing this government against my people. Now, there's things they can do right now that doesn't include writing a check. And I rest my piece. That's my piece, bro.
Yep.
That's right.
You don't even want the word Black being said. That is a shame.
Thank
That
you,
is
bro.
an absolute shame.
Hello.
Our people went through, you want to talk about 1776, okay? Or 1619. What about 1526? Okay? You want our people for over 400 years.
Plus.
Okay? Plus.
400 plus.
400 plus years have had to deal with chattel slavery, and you want us not to say Black? You want us not to say Black? You wish that we would take the word Black out of the name of this platform, Black Man's Roundtable? You're out of your freaking mind.
Amen.
You're out of your mind.
Thank you,
Bobby. I want you to close. Yeah, Bobby, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say one quick thing. This is why the redistricting effort has been so large scale.
Yes,
because
sir.
they know if you allow people to vote how they want to vote, they're going to jail. These things are possibilities because they know if the Democrats get back in office and by demands of things that we want them to do, they know what's on the table.
Good point.
This whole foolishness that's been going on is on the table. It's on the chopping block.
Yes, sir.
And these people will pay for what they've done. You having your fun now. Trust me.
Yes, sir.
Trust me. It's gonna come back. It's going to come back. So I'll leave it at that.
The bill's coming due.
The bill will come due.
Chickens coming home to roost.